Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I want to do something a little bit different, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time, but what I want to do today is I just want to go over a list of things that I consistently forget to do when I'm making videos. So I'm always leaving things out, I'm always forgetting to do this or that, sometimes quite glaring in my own when I look back at the videos, I go, oh, I forgot to mention that character's name, or I forgot to do this, or I forgot to do that. And so I just thought that I would discuss them a little bit, just a little bit of video making, Booktube shop talk, I suppose. But there are 8 different prompts. I'm using prompts today because I don't want to forget anything on the forget stuff video. So so the first one is I forget to mention the author's name and the genre of the book and the date of publication. So I often forget to mention authors' names, specifically when I do book haul videos. I've noticed that. I will hold up a book and be like, oh, it's The Coffin Ship, and then, So I should probably say something like, hey, that's by Peter Tonkin, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Peter Tonkin is probably a pseudonym because, you know, the whole Gulf of Tonkin. I don't know that for sure, but I have my suspicions. And I forget to mention the genre of the book, you know. So what kind of book is this? Is it a romantasy? I guess that's what they call them. I've never read one, so I don't know. A romantic fantasy. Is it a fantasy? Is it science fiction? No, it's sort of a maritime action thriller. And sort of a mystery. This is a strange sort of mashup of a book that I had trouble figuring out what it wanted to be. And I forget to name the date of publication. So I was talking about this book, and I was assuming that the viewer knew that this was published in the late 80s during the very end of the Soviet period, during South Africa features in this book, so during apartheid. And I sort of had to stop midway through the video and talk about all that and go, oh yeah, by the way. So I would like to put all that out in the very beginning. Number 2 is that I forget entirely to discuss the presentation, the cover art, the illustrations, the font, and the print size. So when you're dealing with a physical book, I don't know about ebooks, I've only read a couple of ebooks, but you have the cover art. There aren't any illustrations in this book, so there's none to talk about, but how does that cover art? Looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good because it shows pretty much what this book is about. You have the big name here. You have the author's name at the bottom, very visible. You have these yellow stripes and the black. I like all that. You have this tanker, and this book is about a giant ocean tanker in a storm at one point. This is a weird book that goes up and down and doesn't really have one plot, but kind of meanders. On the back, I think that's a well-made cover. I think it looks really nice. Now the font is a little small, but it's readable. Your chapters are very large. Your chapter numbers are very large. So so I forget to do that usually. I just hold up a book and I don't talk about the cover art. I don't talk about the illustrations. Not always, but a lot of times. And it's just a glaring omission on my part because I've said this before, and it's the truth. I'm not a super visual person. Like, I know you can kind of look around here and you go, well, you've got this and you've got that, and your curtains are kind of, you kind of go with your wall, but then you have a green couch. See, the green couch. It was free. Anyway, my point is I often forget to talk about the illustrations and things, and I really should work on that. Another thing, this is number 3, I forget to name important characters. So sometimes I will be talking, and I'll say this person did that, and this person did that, and it will occur to me afterwards, because I do watch my videos after I make them, to edit them. You know, I like to go through and make sure that the audio works and that I didn't say anything super stupid or anything like that. or that I didn't leave a sneeze in there or something. And so a lot of times I notice that I forget to name the important characters. I might refer to them, but I haven't given them a name. And I actually noticed that I did that in my recent video on Red Dragon. I forgot to name one of the characters, and I regret that. I wish I had. I didn't notice until afterwards, and I actually didn't even think about it until I was compiling this list, and I Okay, so number 4 is give background information about the author or the context of the book relating to its place in the genre or in history. So I've noticed I do that a lot. I forget to talk about authors. Recently I talked about Shirley Jackson, and I basically forgot to mention when she lived, when she died, what her life was like, where she went to school, her marriage, all of that, what sort of led her into writing weird tales, and I just wish I had mentioned that. And I've noticed that I often forget to mention details about the authors, and authors are important in the foundation of a book. You might realize that, perhaps more so than I did, because to be honest, I didn't ever really think very much about authors until I got on Booktube, until I started watching Booktube, and there are a lot of people who make videos about authors, about their lives, about the sometimes unpleasant details of their lives, the things they get up to in private that aren't very likable, and that sort of thing. And it's sort of strange to admit, but I never realized how much importance people place on authors until I started watching Booktube. And okay, number 5. Well, here I'm forgetting again. I forget to relate a book to the context of its genre or its history. So where does this fit into the thriller, action, maritime stories? I don't know. This is really just kind of a entertaining book. It doesn't really cap the genre or anything like that. You know, nobody's ever going to say that this is the finest example of the maritime action thriller or anything, but I should mention that sort of thing, right? And when I'm reading a nonfiction book, I should mention when it was written and why. Like I did recently in my book haul, I talked about Arthur Schlesinger's The Imperial Presidency, and talked about it in context of its time during the Watergate era, during the aftermath of the Pentagon Papers and the revelations of the illegal bombing in Cambodia, and how that book came out of Richard Nixon's presidency, but also served to illustrate the growth of presidential war powers over 200 years. So I really should do that more in general. Number 5 is that I forget to read excerpts that I've purposefully marked and intended to read in a video. So sometimes I just forget entirely. I use these little markers, the little post-its, and I intend to open the book up and read it on camera, and I just completely forget. Sometimes, to be fair, I will actually read those parts, and I'll be in the middle of reading them, and I think, well, that doesn't really illustrate what I want it to, so I'll cut them out sometimes. They just don't quite work in the context of the video. Let's see. So number 7 is, or we'll switch this up a little bit. So number 6 is forgetting to take thumbnail pictures. I'm always making a video, and it takes quite a bit of psyching myself up to actually make a video. And once I poke that red button there, the stop button, I go, oh, thank goodness, now I can go edit it and upload it and everything, and I'm excited. And in the middle of uploading and editing, I'll go, I forgot to take any pictures. And I almost always have to take pictures because the YouTube AI, so when you upload your video, underneath it, it'll have space for you to upload your own picture or to use their photo. It gives you 3 choices, and almost always it will be of me going, or something like that. I don't want to use those pictures. So I have to take my own pictures, and a lot of times, especially when I first started, but even now, and I made a short of cutting out a piece of yellow paper and taping it to the back of this tripod that says take thumbnail pictures. And I used to keep a post-it on that little table over there that said take pictures. I always forget, almost always. And a lot of times I'll be taking my phone off the tripod and I'll go, and I'll have to sit down and do it all over again. But sometimes I have forgotten for days. And then when I'm done editing and uploading, I'll realize I don't have a picture. And it gives me 3 crappy pictures to choose from. Every now and then it will give me an acceptable picture. But it's like a lottery, and I consistently lose that lottery. And I'm amazed that there are some people who use it and they look fine. And I look awful. Almost always. Okay, so number 6 is more of a, it's not really related to the books or anything. It's that I forget to remind my viewers that I'm open to questions and that I welcome comments, which I do. I don't do this to speak into an echo chamber, just to hear my own voice or anything. I really like to hear feedback from the viewers like you. And I made a few videos over the past little while. One got 5,600 some odd views, and another one got 1,800. And the weird thing about doing a YouTube video is that if you make a video where you get 20 views and no comments, or you make one with several thousand views and get no comments, it feels exactly the same, right? And what really changes that is to have an interaction with viewers. That is the reason I am here, is to have an interaction with viewers, with other booktubers. And I feel sometimes that by forgetting to mention that I'm open to comments and open to questions, that people just watch the videos and don't realize that I'm open to comments and questions, that I am here to interact with you, and not just bloviating to hear myself talk. And number 7 is, well, okay, so I think this would be number 8 now, because I've kind of reworked this as I was going. But number 8 would be that I'm always leaving out important information and interesting thoughts I meant to share, specifically because I almost never use notes or prompts while filming. So I do write notes in some of the books that I write on these little mini legal pads. I write notes. Sometimes I write in the book. It depends. But I write the notes, and then I forget to read them a lot of times. I do these videos very impromptu. I just go, all right, right now I'm in the mood. Get over there, make a video. So I'll forget to read the notes. And for a little while I was sitting down and actually writing about half a page on every book before I talked about it on video, and that was really helping. I did the Red Badge of Courage that way, and I did the most successful video I ever made was called what was it called? Oh, The Outermost House, or it was called the most beautifully written book I've read this year. And The Outermost House was by far the most beautifully written book I've read this year. And before I made that video, I sat down and I wrote half a page about it, and that's why that video worked out so well, because I had stacked everything into half a page worth of who the author is, his background, where this book takes place, all that sort of thing. And I used, there's a video that Steve Donahue made about 5 years ago, and it's about writing book reviews. But I used it for making videos, and it's really, really helped me. And if I remember, I'll leave a link to that video in the description, because it really helped me understand what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to do with these book reviews. I haven't been using it lately. I've kind of been ill and kind of not making videos quite as well as I was there for a little bit, and I need to get back into that. But I will leave a link to that in the description box down below, because that video really helped me. If I can find it, I'll try to find it, and I'm going to write that down right now. Okay, link to Steve's video. Okay, But also, I wonder sometimes, you know, I'm never going to speak from a script when I do these videos, but I do need sometimes to have prompts, right? And so I have thought about maybe getting a whiteboard or something. I actually have a little whiteboard over there. I never use it. Or maybe a cork board. I have a chalkboard somewhere. And putting it on a stand and just writing prompts on it. I feel like I would probably forget things a lot less if I did that. I speak almost entirely off the cuff in general when I make videos. I mean, clearly right now I'm using prompts, but it's because I specifically don't want to forget anything. But I'll never speak from a script. I tried it one time. I felt like a news anchor. I didn't like it at all. I like to be able to kind of ramble, but I need reminders that will kind of lead me back onto the proper path, to what I'm trying to say and my main line through this, right? But anyway, so those are the 8 things that I frequently forget to talk about in videos, that I forget to mention, or that I forget to do. And I just wanted to make this video just as kind of a fun thing to do. And you know, if you make videos and you're watching this, I would love to hear. This is not a tag video, by the way, but if you make videos, I would love to hear about some of the things you forget to do, maybe the troubles you have, like what you forget to edit, or what you forget to say in your videos. Maybe you forget to say your name or their channel name. I almost never say my channel name, but yeah. Do you forget to talk about authors? Do you forget to talk about the date of publication or the cover art? I would just really like to hear what you have to say. And I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this video isn't rambling and incoherent, because it's been a lot of fun to make. And I'll see you next time.